Hello everybody, how are you doing today? And welcome back to the garden. I had a break from gardening for about a week, been on holiday, and I think today is time to harvest the rest of the potatoes. Let's go. My container potatoes. I don't think they're gonna do anymore. Looks like the plants are dead or dying. So all those containers gonna get harvested. I'm hoping I'm gonna get a nice crop of potatoes out of them. Okay, so here we are in the usual place. I have my wheelbarrow for the compost I'm gonna collect from all the containers, and I have my bucket for the harvest. This is the second harvest from these containers in 1 year, and I have main harvest in the ground as well. So that's 3 potato harvests in a year. I think that's quite good. Well, depending, we'll see how much we're gonna get out of it. But let's start. I don't remember when I planted those. I think it's about 2.5 months ago. So they didn't have that much time to grow really. But this is all compost that I used for the first potato growing. And the same containers, so I didn't lose any space. I am getting some, so that's a good sign. They are not the biggest ones, but they are nice, fresh potatoes. I think I planted 2 seed potatoes per container. So I'm definitely getting more than I invested in it. It's not the biggest one, but definitely it's better than nothing. Okay, now the only thing is I need to find some space for that compost. Just give me a sec. Alright, I managed to find some space at the end of one of the growing beds. That's the problem this time of the year. I don't have any open space for the compost. But that's not a problem. I can spread the compost later when I open some more space. But that is the second white potato container. Those are really old containers, really. As you can hear, it's all cracking and breaking already. But it still does its job. Until it completely falls apart, I'm gonna still use it. There's no point throwing away all the plastic. So let's have a look what we have here. I've noticed that those white potatoes grow mostly on the surface. They don't go deep in the compost really. That also reminds me, I'm lucky that I planted those for the late crop, for this crop. Because I recently realized I ate all my white potatoes already, so I wouldn't have any to plant in the spring. So some of them are gonna get stored in the fridge till spring when I can plant them again. They are quite nice potatoes really, not the biggest one. I wouldn't expect the huge crop from the container anyway. Well, some of them are on the bigger side. Makes me wonder how the red potato is gonna cope in a container. I don't know if you remember, in one of the previous videos I topped up all the containers with the wood chip just on the surface to help it retain the moisture. That worked like a treat. I didn't have to water nearly as often as I usually have to do. And now, after mixing it with soil, it's gonna sit on top of one of my garden beds over the winter. So hopefully all the wood chip gonna get decomposed. So from 2 containers, almost half a bucket of potatoes, not bad. And now rinse and repeat. I'll take the compost out, bring the container in. Okay, I had to stop the time lapse for the moment because that's the first container with the red potatoes, so we can have a look how well the red potatoes are performing. So let's do some digging. Similar size as the white one. In the ground they usually grow bigger. So far so good. Not a bad size as well. Alright, so that's almost full bucket from 4 containers. I think that's quite good for a second harvest. So let me continue with all the rest. I think there's 3 or 4 containers left, and I'll show you how much I got. Okay, so this is the last 8 container. So far I have a heaping bucket of potatoes. I think I can feed whatever is in that container into this bucket. The ground potatoes gonna have to wait till tomorrow. It's 4:30, but looks like we are losing the light already. So I'm gonna finish with this container. We'll see how much we're gonna get all together. I have no idea how I was planting these potatoes, but there's 2 different colors in this container. I think growing potatoes in containers very early spring, if you have a greenhouse or a polytunnel, it's a brilliant idea. You're getting 1 full extra crop out of them. In ground, I can only manage 1. But this extra protection, just little bit of heat in a greenhouse early in the season, when there's nothing else really growing in the greenhouse, it makes all the difference. When I need a space in a greenhouse, when it's warm enough outside, I just move the containers out. That way, I'm getting 2 crops per container. And I'm also reusing my compost, so it doesn't cost me anything as well. Let me just quickly show you my compost. As you can see, it's mostly half-made compost, lots of sticks and stuff. But that doesn't bother the potatoes at all. Fighter jet. Two of them. Okay, so I think that's gonna be all for today. Not a bad harvest at all. I didn't expect that much for the second crop of potatoes. I have plenty of small potatoes. They're gonna be lovely for quick fry up, maybe. But majority of them are usual normal potato size. A couple of them are on a big side, but not that many. Most of them are average potato size. But as I was saying, if you have a greenhouse or a polytunnel or any other place that you can start your potatoes really early and protect them from frost, it's well worth doing. You're getting 2 crops of potatoes from the same area. And as I said, you can reuse your compost. Just top it up with either fertilizer, preferably organic, or like in my case with the chicken manure. That wasn't even composted chicken manure, just straight from the chicken coop. The potatoes didn't mind at all. And the main potato harvest in the ground gonna have to wait till tomorrow. The days are getting so short already. I have only like an hour and a half after work before it starts getting dark. But yeah, I'm happy with my container harvest. Let me know in a comment how many harvests of potatoes you can do in 1 year. For me it's 2 maximum, well 3 if I'm gonna count the main harvest in the ground. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back in the garden very soon, and we're gonna dig out the main crop potatoes. Bye!